if that's what the tribe is saying, nobody should be surprised that that's what women are saying.
Yeah.
They're like the canary in the coal mine. They don't actually have any of these beliefs. They are reflecting back the beliefs that, well, I think the ruling elite, who have now all been exposed as pedophiles, are creating for us.
What a mess.
What's up, guys? We're going to look at a clip with Jessie Lee Peterson and Leonardo Jonie. Leonardo Jonie is a female comedian. I saw her in Pasadena, Texas last year. In this clip, Jessie Lee Peterson and Leonardo Jonie are going to discuss the role of women in politics and the media. And Leonardo's got some pretty interesting insights on this subject. Let's go ahead. We'll get right into the clip.
Leonardo Jonie is with me, and she's late like a black person.
Hey, I was trying to fit in with your culture. So you're representing white people by getting up at 5 a.m. I'm going to represent your people by being like, yo, what the fuck is this shit?
I appreciate that. She is a stand-up comedian, political commentator, and probably the most banned
female comedian. Yeah, for sure.
Why are you so banned? Don't get me banned, but why are you so banned?
Well, because people don't like hearing the truth is why. They want me to go up there and be like, women are the best and men suck and screw white people. And I'm like, black people do crime. Mexicans molest their kids. Women are out of control. And they're like, that's it. Cancel her. So, usually because I fight all their agendas that they have. Like, do you mind if I take this off? It's weirding me out.
Oh, yeah. You can take it.
Thank you. I'll do that. Yeah, because I'm just hearing myself and I'm like, oh, I sound like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so, I started in 2019. That's when the trans agenda was raging.
Oh, okay.
And I started making jokes against the trans agenda. And I wasn't even known. I mean, I was an open micer or whatever, but I did a few gigs for people making these jokes, and they would get complaints like, there was no trans people in the audience. Of course, there was always a liberal white woman who'd be like, I was offended. And it's like, you don't even know what you're supposed to be offended about,
Yeah.
And now all the women are like, they're letting the men compete with us in sports. I'm like, well, I thought you said that there's no difference between men and women.
I'll rest my case.
What are you so upset about?
Absolutely.
You're all complaining about how they don't let you in the military and the fire department and the police force because you're just as capable as men.
Let me ask, speaking of the women, white women, in New York, they, according to report, elected Mandami.
According to reports.
Right.
I know, because I doubt that any of that stuff's real, but whatever.
What's wrong with the white women today that they seem to make bad decisions and not good ones that will affect themselves and their country? What's wrong with them?
It's okay. So you know a lot about the female psychology, don't you?
Right, I do.
What's true about women?
Nothing.
There is true.
They're angry, out of control, emotional.
Yeah.
And cannot make rational decisions.
Hold on. So that's it, right? They're emotional.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to manipulate women and get them to behave in a certain manner, you just hack that emotional nature of theirs, which is exactly what has happened. Now, I'm not going to let them off the hook because I think that if you don't take responsibility for what you're doing, you have no power to change it.
Right.
So we do have the responsibility to recognize that we are being brainwashed and to start thinking about the things that we are thinking, which actually most people don't do.
Absolutely.
Most men and women do not reflect on their beliefs and where they got them from and then test them on the fire to say, is this true?
Yeah.
And women are a creature that needs the tribe to survive. We do.
Yeah.
We're not hunters. We can't just go out there on our own, right?
Yeah.
Now this is the unique time in history where in a way we don't need the tribe to survive because there's a whole system set up for us by men where we could go out in the world, survive and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That helped me to become very independent in my thought process and not need the tribe. But that internal pull for the tribe is strong. You're talking about, thousands of years of biological and evolutionary biology telling you if you get kicked out of the tribe, you're going to die.
So let's just look back and kind of think about how the traits that we see around this evolved and why they're different between men and women. You have a woman, like Leonardo said, who she physically can't defend herself against not just men, but just the entropy of her environment, whether that's animals that are trying to eat her, whether that's a tree that happened to fall on her and she can't lift it off, or, that's kind of a random example, but you get the idea. So her survival, the survival of a female, is almost entirely contingent upon being in the good graces of the group as a whole, because ultimately she has to appeal to the strength of either men or a larger group of women to increase the odds of her own survival. Now, a man, on the other hand, he's still going to do better if he's existing within a group, because survivability really tends to scale up with numbers within a cohesive in-group. However, we see the archetype of the bad boy even today in modern society, and we see women being attracted to this archetype of the bad boy. We can think of, for example, criminal men who look very attractive in their mugshots, and women will go bananas over them. Luigi Mangione, like technically a criminal going against the group, but women love that guy. And so you've got this archetype of the bad boy that's clearly successful in terms of mating potential, even to this present day. And that's because the man, even though he survives better within the group, he still has the potential to survive on his own. And he's just got a lot more wiggle room in terms of going against the group and pushing back against the leadership structure. And the reason that we really see that trait carried on is that occasionally that dissidence, the fact that this one man is going his own way, sometimes that can carry the loyalty of the entire group. And when a group succumbs to sort of brittleness and inability to adapt to changing environmental conditions, when they get too set in their ways and the survivability of the group is actually threatened because everyone's just adhering to this model of behavior that the leaders are presenting that's actually self-destructive, eventually men will rise up within that group to challenge that behavioral model that's put forward by the leader, and they will attract other strong men within the group, and ultimately it'll reach a tipping point where they'll attract a bunch of women as well. And then usually that's the tipping point where the entire group moves over to the dissident defector man. And that increases the survivability of the group because it adds adaptability in terms of the statistical game theory at play here regarding the survivability of a group. And so we can see that archetype survives over time, present to this very day. But if you're looking around and seeing the way men behave and women behave, noticing that it's different and wondering why there isn't some sort of one-to-one parity between males and females in terms of behavioral characteristics within our species, it's because for 100,000, 200,000 years, we lived under certain conditions where the male and the female were two halves of a complementary whole. And that whole, that was like the functional unit. That was the role that as a whole influenced the survivability of the group. Now we're in this very different world, really since the Industrial Revolution, where male and female roles have been so radically altered that I believe that that is what is related to a lot of demographic decline in the first world nations across the West.
And so they're going to follow the tribe. And right now, at least the manufactured consent is that, well, everybody's on board with this liberal agenda, right?
Yeah.
The agenda of being tolerant, right? Of accepting the third world into your country, of not interfering, as they put it, with a woman's right to choose. This is marketed as the platform of compassion and being a good person.
Amazing.
And so if that's what the tribe is saying, nobody should be surprised that that's what women are saying.
Yeah.
They're like the canary in the coal mine. They don't actually have any of these beliefs. They are reflecting back the beliefs that, well, I think the ruling elite, who have now all been exposed as pedophiles, are creating for us.
What a mess.
It's a total mess.
What a mess.
Yeah, Leonardo Jonie really nailed it there. And the thing that's changed in the modern days, not just the Industrial Revolution, but if you follow technology, the real direction of technology is you can complete more and more complex tasks with less and less labor input from the individual. And that quality leads to ever increasing leverage of asymmetrical power for one individual to exert over a group. Eventually, you're going to reach an inflection point, and I think that we reached that inflection point shortly after the Civil War. But you're going to reach an inflection point where just a small group of people, they have so much power to influence the version of reality that everyone else experiences that you can completely manufacture reality for others. And as I said, I think we reached that roughly around the Civil War. There was some dust-ups over the course of the next 60 or 70 years while that power was being consolidated. People were pushing back against it, such as Strauss and Astor, pushing back against the Federal Reserve, for example. But we lost that battle, and the power was consolidated within a very small group of people. And now we see the world around us is almost entirely manufactured. So if you combine that with what Leonardo Jonie was saying, if you can manufacture an illusion of reality, you could put anyone in an echo chamber, but in particular, you can put women in an echo chamber where their evolutionarily bound behavioral desire to comply to the group as a whole can be so easily manipulated to destroy their very in-group that they're a part of. And I think that that's basically what we've seen with feminism. That's just my take on it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons and sharing this video to help the channel grow.